Ladies and gentlemen, would like to welcome you aboard. We kindly ask that you fasten your seatbelt.
And eat your fucking nuts. This is Confessions on the Fly with
LJ
and Flight Attendant Joe. Welcome back, everybody, to our podcasts. How are you today?
I'm great, thanks. How are you?
I'm doing great, but I'm very distracted
Why?
by your outfit today. I didn't realize...
I'm wearing Aladdin pants.
I didn't realize we were going to show our boobs to the world. Like, I would have worn more of a low-cut type of shirt. Like, why don't you just go balls to the wall? I have something. Would you be interested in maybe a costume change before we even get started? Because I have something for you to wear. Something that would be maybe more appropriate.
What are you doing?
Let me see here. Oh, here.
Do you have props?
Band-Aids.
Oh, shit.
Because you might as well just let them out and put these on.
Stop!
Would you
I'm
do
wearing
that
a tank top. It's really not that.
But what if we did that and
you
then
want me
the
to
other
put nipple
one?
Covers on?
There, could you just do that so I'm not so distracted? I don't
They're
even.
just.
Well, okay, wait a minute.
They're just.
Maybe
boobs.
I'll put them on mine.
They're boobs.
Well, they're so big today.
You're welcome.
I don't know. You're making me flustered, but I'm going to do this.
Here, put another one on too. Just
Well,
put your
how did it turn on me putting on the Band-Aid nips?
There you go, nipple cover.
Oh my God! Do they have one of these for your stomach?
I do. I want to staple mine, so it's perfect.
That's perfect. So how are you?
I'm really well.
Does that look better? You know, I'm not embarrassed by my boobs.
I know.
They're-
I'm not embarrassed by my boobs either.
No, I was trying to get you to
take my top off.
Yes, because I think I promised someone once
Nice.
that by the end of the season you'd have your top off.
I take my top off at least.
So I'm still working on that.
Oh, great. Good.
But
You're
okay,
welcome.
let's rewind.
Okay, great.
And how are you?
I'm well, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing great. Have you worked recently?
Yeah. Can I just say something?
Yes, please.
If I had a nickel for every time I took an elbow to the crotch on a plane, I'd have a Kardashian as like a neighbor at this point. Like, it's ridiculous.
I don't even understand that.
I swear to God, what is with your like phalanges, people? Keep them.
Oh, you mean in the elbows in the aisles?
Keep them like toddlers' heads in my crotch, elbows.
Well, that's just preparing you when a baby comes out of your crotch.
Out of my canal.
Onto the floor, because I'm not catching
I like kind of feel bad for Stormy Daniels. Like, I feel like I know. I feel like we have something in common.
Because there's so many heads in your crotch?
Yeah, at this point.
On the airplane, off the airplane?
Yeah, no.
Off the airplane.
No.
Oh, I don't know. Why? You literally just said I have a lot of heads in my crotch, and then when I said off the airplane, I'm the bad guy.
Yes, clearly.
Well, I'm just going to drink my little apple cider.
Strongbow. I got us little strongbows today because I was reminiscing about living in London.
You lived in London?
A long time ago. Like 1,000 years ago. For school.
Like when, is this make pretend London?
No, like.
For reals.
For real London.
You like really lived in London?
Yeah.
For how long?
For a while. For school.
Really?
Yeah. I was working at the Globe Theater in London.
I don't even know who you are.
I know. It's another life.
I'm just so focused on my Band-Aid nipples.
Yeah.
But, so have you worked, though, on the airplane?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I got elbowed in the crotch constantly. It was my last trip of the summer because I'm on hiatus right now.
Who says that?
I'm on hiatus.
Who says I'm not working?
I'm on hiatus from work because I'm doing other job stuff. I teach at UCLA in the summer. I teach the summer program at Oxbridge.
Wow, that's fantastic.
So I teach acting.
You're like a professor?
Well, yeah.
Can you teach me something?
Well, acting classes, yeah.
Well, you're never going to teach me that because I don't know how to act.
It's film and television.
Wow.
Los Angeles.
That's very fantastic.
I'm very excited. It's
well,
fun.
you're fabulous. So this makes sense to me.
So I'm not like really flying too much. I flew one trip and now I'm grounded for a while.
But I don't understand. I think you've mentioned twice in our relationship that you've been elbowed in the crotch. Now, I don't understand.
I don't understand why.
Are you thrusting your hips? Like, do you walk down the aisle with your pelvis 3 inches in front of you?
I don't lead with my crotch.
Well, if you lead with your boobs, everyone's going to be grabbing onto them. But you'll fall over.
I would. If I led like chest first, I'd flip over the cart.
The plane they would have to move everyone to the front.
Over. Weights and balances, LJ.
LJ, bring your boobs to the back. We're out of control
I know,
today.
we're ridiculous.
We just started. I just work 7 days.
That sounds terrible.
You know what? It's better than 13.
First of all, I still don't know how you did that. That was horrendous.
Well, I called in on the last trip. So it was 13 and then it was 10 because I was literally like, do I call in or do I go to prison for killing someone? So let me just call in.
I don't have enough bail money either.
No, so. But I just worked 7 days and, you know, I had a lot of fun. I went to Puerto Rico.
Nice. I love Puerto Rico.
It was fantastic. I had a layover in Orlando where I actually had dinner with an ex.
Like an ex-boyfriend?
Like an ex-boyfriend. But we're talking like,
I need to know the details.
Now, here's the thing. I've had 3 relationships in my life. My husband for 14 years and then 2 boyfriends for a year and a half. And I used to think that I could only be with somebody for a year and a half. I thought that was my cutoff point. Like, I was like, oh, by a year and a half, they realize how fucking crazy I am. And then they break up with me. Hello, welcome everybody to Confessions on the Fly, where she keeps track of my fucks. Yep, so that was 2. That was 2. Yeah.
I'm behind.
Oh my God.
I'm so sorry.
So I had dinner with my ex, and at first, so I called him. I sent him a text on his birthday. Okay. And we started talking, and then I was in Orlando, and we ended up going out, and we spent 4 hours together.
On purpose?
That's good.
You're welcome.
Yes, like we just started talking. Well, the first thing, you know, I talk a lot. And when we sat down, he was talking so much. At one point, I just folded my arms in front of me and he goes, I feel like you're interviewing me. And I was like, well, you know, I can't interview you if I don't have a chance to ask a question because you're fucking talking so much.
Wait, now give me some, can you give me some details? Like older, younger?
He's like, 5 years older than me.
Don't do names or anything like that.
Of course not. Well, no, because he's in my second book, which I didn't tell him because it was a nice dinner. Why ruin it?
Don't ruin it.
Yeah. But no, he's 5 years older than me. He left me for a friend. He broke my heart. He literally took my heart out of my body, put it through a meat grinder, then made a meatloaf, and then stomped on it. So it was just rough.
And you sat down to dinner with this person?
Yes.
See, I don't get. There's so many things I don't get.
Well, I don't. Go ahead.
Because we were just having a conversation about like forgiveness and stuff like that in a car on the way here. And I'm like, I can forgive somebody and no longer have you in my life.
We literally
just had this conversation.
Yeah,
I can forgive people and I do not need you in my life. I have no ill will towards you. I wish you all the best. I genuinely hope you have happiness, but I also don't need you in my life anymore.
Right.
So
I get that.
So this concept is fascinating to me.
Well, I wanted to have dinner because
Wait, did you reach out to him or did he reach out to you?
I reached out and wished him a happy birthday, and then we chatted. I'm about to burp, but I don't know how to do this. So it just happened. No one knows. I shouldn't even said anything. No one would have even known. But so, and we just started texting, and he was like, oh, like, he wanted to hear a story. I was like, oh, something big just happened in my life, and he wanted to hear about it. And then I was like, oh, I'm going to be in Orlando. Let's get coffee. And he said, well, let's get dinner. And I was like, now, I stay in touch with my 2 exes. I've been to both of their moms' funerals. Okay. I am one of those people that believe if you break up, you were not meant to be together. And if I loved you once in my life, that I feel like if I found something about you
that was lovable,
just because we didn't work out doesn't mean I can't still care about you and think about you.
Absolutely.
And of course, I
think that's fair. Of course, very kind.
17 years ago, I wanted to kill him and my friend, but now I'm like, yeah, we weren't supposed to be together, and this is just the way it is, but I could still be friendly with you, and I think that's important.
I mean, the one that I spent the longest amount of time with, like, when I say my ex, he's 10 years.
Right.
So, like, that's a decade. Obviously, it took a very long time for me to not, like, throw the baby out with the bathwater and think that whole time was
just put the baby down at the border. Sorry, no politics. But just put the baby down at the border, and then it'll be fine. But boom, hold on. So there you go. This is my clapper for when things get awkward.
You're welcome.
And it's my ball snapper. So, but yeah, no, I just feel that way. So your ex that you were with for 10 years. Why, if he came into town, would you go have coffee with him?
He is in town. He lives here.
Oh, he lives here. Would you? Oh, and you don't have any interaction.
We don't. I mean, every now and then there'll be a text here and there, but I'm very much somebody who likes to like mentally prepare for certain things. Like he had texted me recently and was like, hey, do you want to get together? I'd love to sit down and da-da-da. I just want to know what the reasoning is behind that.
Oh, right.
Like, I was like, okay, sure. Like, I just want to be prepared. Again, I'm such an OCD person. I like to be prepared about whatever that is.
Right.
So I know what I'm walking into.
Sure. That makes sense.
But that's all.
Yeah, we just had dinner. We talked. He updated me on his life. It was great to be able to see, like, I have this thing about people growing. As you get older, you should grow and learn from your mistakes. So I was very entertained with going and saying, let me sit down with this person and have, like, and we had the best conversation we've ever had. I mean, we had wonderful. A great, but then at one point when we were leaving the restaurant, he just parked behind the hotel, and I was like, oh, this is not happening.
What do you mean?
Like, he was just like, oh, well, I don't know where else to go. Let's just sit in the car and talk. And I was just like, yeah, I need to go to bed, so you need to drop me off. It was just weird. There was a weird moment because, of course, he wants to hook up with me because I'm amazing. Look at me. I'm so hot.
Yes.
So, well, somebody has to tell me. I have to tell myself. So, but it was nice.
Do you.
Oh, I would do you so hard. I would do you if you put these on, but you made me wear them. God, those things.
I know.
It's ridiculous.
Sorry.
But I know that the topic of conversation today is our vacations this summer.
Yes.
And I wanted to let you go first because I'm so excited. You went somewhere that I've always wanted to go.
Yes.
So I want to hear all about it and go.
I told you, I think I mentioned it on an episode a long time ago that I was kind of planning on going to Peru.
Yes.
Yes.
Very exciting.
And it was a very last minute trip. I went with my friend Talia. I could say her name. That's fine. Talia.
Unless she wants to kill you, but yeah. Okay.
No. But it was a very last minute trip. Hi, Talia. Love you.
See?
But it was a very last minute trip. We didn't know each other that well. We'd only worked together once, but for one 3-day trip or something like that. But we just hit it off. We had a good, vibe, and we were talking about, vacations and trips and that kind of stuff. And I was like, oh God, hiking Machu Picchu is like on my bucket list, and I really need to get that done.
Right.
And she said the same thing, and I was like, oh well, let's do it. You say that to like people you fly with, and you never think anyone's going to like make that happen.
Right.
So literally, she texted me on a Friday and was like, hey, what are you doing this week? You want to go for a hike? And I was like, yeah, sure, I'm totally down.
Right.
On Monday, that was on Friday. On Monday, we were on a plane to Peru.
That's exciting.
So exciting.
This is really cool, too, because I always pick on you and say you don't do anything. So I'm glad you actually got up and went somewhere.
I did.
And you went hiking.
I do.
Well, all right. Well, if that's what you want everyone to believe.
This one.
But no, I'm very excited. But go ahead.
No, but we went, so Monday we went to LAX and I took Latam.
Oh, fancy. Were they nice?
So nice.
Yeah.
So nice. But like we bring snacks and like presents.
What did you
like
bring?
Candy. I brought a bunch of chocolate.
Oh, nice.
Like a bunch of chocolate.
Did they love it?
They loved it.
Were they like, what is this for? Or they knew what was up?
I think they were shocked and confused at first.
Yeah.
But we were wearing badges or whatever.
Okay.
And so we're like, thanks so much. We just wanted to say thank you for your hospitality and whatever. This was right when we were coming on the plane.
Right.
We didn't like get upgraded or anything like that. We had normal seats. But we had like 2 seats by window, which was great. It was a very big airplane for me to be on.
Oh.
Because I don't really fly on those type of airplanes.
Right.
So for me, it was really...
You don't go anywhere? I'm sorry.
Here we go. Yet again.
No, go.
Anyway, so it was an 8.5-hour flight from LA to Lima.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, it was, but we chatted the whole time and kind of like talked about what we were going to do and all that kind of stuff. But they were so sweet. They give us like champagne and little like goodie bags.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It was very,
they'll hook you up.
They were very sweet.
That's very good.
But we were chatting with them in the back too. We're like, hey, anything, this is our first time there. Anything that we should, any recommendations or anything like that. And they're like, you have to have pisco sours. And I was like, done. We'll get pisco sours.
Did you have guinea pig?
Did not eat guinea pig.
Would you have?
No.
Would you have tried it?
Maybe.
Did you try it?
No.
Are you talking about penis?
Stop.
Guinea pig, like they eat them there. Well, I think they roast them, but it's guinea pig. It's like chicken.
Sure.
Yeah, okay. No, I think it is.
Yeah. Well, Talia's a vegetarian, so
me too.
Yeah, exactly. So, but she had no problem finding food or whatever. Right. So we spent a night in Lima when we got there. Super fun. Just like funny, stupid crap that happened to us while we were there. Like our first place we stayed in had like a king size bed and then like a tiny little single bed. It was just like ridiculous.
And did you sleep together?
Well, no. Yes. No. Yes, Yes, we did.
No.
We slept together for everybody.
Oh, you're so disgusting. I meant, did you sleep in the bed together?
No, we had 2 separate beds. One was a king-size bed and one was like a little single bed.
And who slept in the single bed?
She did. She jumped in the single bed.
I'm very nosy about the sleeping arrangements.
Totally fell.
So you spent one night in Lima.
So we went a night in Lima, and then the next day we literally just jumped a hopper flight on Avianca.
Mm-hmm.
And then we went from Lima to Cusco.
Yes, okay.
So in the morning we took, and it was so great because our dollar is so strong over there to the pen. We felt like high rollers dropping a $20 bill for a taxi. And everyone's like, oh, you know what I mean? It was so
their currency is pens?
Pen. Mm-hmm.
Like this?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I'm going to just pull out 20 pens in here.
No. You know what I mean.
I'm just kidding.
But
I'm trying too hard today.
I know. No.
Well, it's because I'm sweating to death.
It's okay.
I feel like by the time we're done, I will be 5 pounds lighter. So this is good.
It's perfect.
This is good.
Perfect.
Go ahead.
But yeah. So that was, our dollar was so strong. So it was really worked in our favor there. The only thing is Wi-Fi is hard to come by. So if you do it, just FYI, you only get 30 minutes of free Wi-Fi in the airport. So be prepared on what you need to do. Whether it's getting a taxi, getting an Uber. They have Uber too. FYI.
Oh, nice.
Great.
Did you ever feel like, there's no Wi-Fi, so I'm going to be disconnected and I'm going to be okay with that? Or did you ever feel like, oh my God, I have to have Wi-Fi?
For getting around purposes, I was like, oh, darn, Wi-Fi would be helpful.
Right.
But other than, no, I was fine just being disconnected and being there, because I think I posted on my personal page or whatever on Instagram or whatever, I posted videos and pictures later on, and I was like, sorry about me posting 1,000 pictures right now, but Wi-Fi is hard to come by. So I would do it later because I wanted to enjoy it and be in the moment and have a good time. We just had so much fun. We kept on laughing. She's super fun and quirky, and our weirdness just kind of melded together really well, which I think was great. But we took a hopper flight from Lima to Cusco. Cusco is amazing and gorgeous, and the people were really, really nice. And the city's just really beautiful. It's these beautiful churches and ruins and buildings, and there's these lights on the mountainside. It just was absolutely gorgeous. The thing about Lima, I think for me, was when I was there, it was really interesting to see extreme wealth next to extreme poverty. That was really interesting to see.
So like San Francisco.
Maybe a little bit.
Like 1 minute you're in a big mansion, the next people are right there.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
is there no middle class? Is that what you're saying?
It just was interesting to see. If there is, I didn't really see it from again, we were only in Lima for the day.
Okay.
But everybody was so kind and so awesome. And if you just try with the language, it's really, I think that's half of the battle.
What do they speak there? Spanish?
Spanish and Portuguese.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, it's like Brazil.
So I tried my horrible Spanish as much as I could. And we had a translator app and stuff like that. But once we got to Cusco, our main goal was to hike Machu Picchu. That was what we wanted to do. So we took the next day. So we enjoyed the town and food and that kind of stuff, and the squares, which were just gorgeous. The churches are amazing. So many, I'm a big fan of taking pictures in front of doors.
Oh, doors I love doors.
A big thing.
Doors are exciting.
I love me a pretty door.
Doors are exciting.
But there was just so many. And even in Lima, our last day on our way back, we went to Lima and went into the square, into the main part of town, and had food, and it just was really, really cool.
That's great.
Which
now,
I really enjoyed.
Were you ever worried about traveling as women alone? And not to be misogynistic or anything, but did you ever think oh God, we're in a foreign country, we're alone? What could other women get out of traveling alone? What's the one thing you would tell them? I always think be as prepared as possible. Now, we kind of traveled the same way. We did some things on the fly, no pun intended. But we had a general outline of what we wanted to do. Sure. We knew kind of areas to stay away from or whatnot, but we had a very specific plan. Okay. Talia found the most amazing hotel for us in Cusco, which was
beautiful, and I recommend going. It's on my Instagram, and you can check it out there. It was the most beautiful place I've ever been, and we kept on joking about getting the matrimony suite because we were listed, because we did it online or whatever, like while we were doing things, and we got a matrimony suite, and like the guy who like helps check us in, he's like, do you want like 2 beds? And Talia's like, no, we're fine with the matrimony suite. And I was like, no, we could take 2 beds if you got 2 beds.
Yes.
It was really funny. We were just
she's
joking.
so much fun.
She's so much fun.
She's really fun.
But the highlight for me absolutely was, I so badly had researched and wanted to do Peru Rail, to go into the town, which will take you to do the hike for Machu Picchu, because it's super remote. And it's Peru Rail, and then there's another one, which if I ever get to go back, knock on wood, I would take like my person or whatever, because it's the fancier version of it. It's the Hiram Bingham train. And
it goes from Cusco to
the city that you start the hike for Machu Picchu. It's a 3.5-hour train ride.
Fun. I love trains.
And it's gorgeous. I can't stress enough, like, the windows are huge, but then you also have, like, skylights, too.
Oh, so you can see everywhere.
You can see everything, which was just, I mean, you're going through and seeing massive mountains and rivers and all this kind of, it's just so stunning. It was so beautiful.
Well, that's good.
So it was like, that was a highlight for me. And there's like coffee and cookies and food and yada, 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 and all this kind of stuff.
There's an Amtrak train. It's called the California Zephyr, and it goes from Emeryville to Chicago.
Oh, cool.
And they have one of those cars where it's all glass, and you can just go there and you go through the Sierra Nevada mountains and Colorado, and it's gorgeous. So it's the same type of like a view train. Yeah, it's very nice.
So beautiful. It was so early in the morning, too. Like, we got the first train out for the day, so we were exhausted, and we'd been, you know, not really sleeping that much because we wanted to get in and do as much as possible.
Right.
But you didn't want to sleep on the train because it was so beautiful. You know what I mean? You would usually like sleep on the train or whatever. The views, I cannot stress enough how awesome the views were. And then you get into this awesome town where it's the starting point. It's the starting point for the hike. So then you take a bus ride up to the actual hike to do Machu Picchu. But that town has all like, you know, outdoor shops and like, you know, where you can get trinkets and like souvenirs and that kind of stuff and like handmade things, you know, that kind of stuff. So I got like, did I show you earlier today? I got a blanket.
Oh yes, that was very nice.
Which was really, really nice. Alpaca blanket, which was beautiful.
We talked about how you're still one of those people that buy souvenirs for people.
Well,
who are those souvenirs for?
I try not to buy things, to be honest. But we took a backpack. I didn't bring anything at all. I literally took a backpack and that was it. Okay. So I couldn't buy things, but I always buy a pack of cards for my parents. And
that's cute.
Because they play cards down in Florida. They're retired. Okay. So I buy a pack of cards from where I'm at for my parents and my best friend's parents.
Oh, nice.
Parents.
So you buy cards from wherever you go?
Yes,
wherever that's cute.
I go.
I like that.
I always buy a keychain for my Christmas tree because I have a travel tree. The keychains are all places that I've been.
That's a great idea. I did not even ever think of that, but I like that.
And it's keychains. They're small, and you can. I don't buy like ornaments because they're big and bulky. I literally buy a keychain. Okay. So I got a keychain.
Oh, that's kind of a cute idea.
And
I like that.
I got my blanket. That was like my one thing. So because I didn't have any place to put anything either. Right. And then we drank our faces off.
Of course.
Pisco sours are amazing, by the way. Okay. Have 1,000 of them. They're delicious. The food was great. Really, really.
What's one thing that I should eat there if I ever go there?
She had a lot of the vegetarian food. I eat like meat and stuff like that.
What was your favorite meal?
Well, finding water.
Never mind about food. Like, oh my God, drinking water.
Again, those were the two things that were very difficult to come by. Was like there was no water fountains anywhere. You know, like in the town or like in like the airport. Right. It was hard to find water. So buying bottled water constantly and then Wi-Fi was.
Did you have like one of these?
I did.
Oh, okay, but you just couldn't find any place to fill it.
Oh, so I would buy we would buy big things of jugs of water. Sure. But then once we got into the town, it was an hour bus ride to get up to the start of Machu Picchu. Okay. Then you have an entrance into Machu Picchu, which is, you know, the ruins there's only a certain amount of people are allowed in a day. So you have basically time slots. There's a morning time slot and an afternoon time slot, and it's like 5 hours or something like that to get in. Now, other people, there's a 7-day trail, a 7-day hike, a 3-day hike, and a 1-day hike. We did the 1 day up and down.
Right.
So, because that's all what we had time to do. But
the other ones, the people camp?
Yeah, you camped.
Right.
Absolutely. I would like to do the 3-day because I don't need to do 7 days. I think 3-day would be awesome to kind of do that. Or I would absolutely go back and do the 1 day again.
Yeah.
I would actually go back and do the 1 day twice. Like I would stay in that little town, do it once so you can get the perimeter, and then do it the next day so you can get the inside of everything.
Interesting.
It honestly... It's one of those places, I've had this experience 3 or 4 times in my life where I love places that make you feel small and insignificant.
Oh, okay.
I just love that feeling. I think it's really beautiful and makes me feel connected to... I'm a God person, you know that.
Yes.
It makes me feel very connected.
Okay.
So I really enjoy that. I had that experience when I was standing on the cliffs of Moher and hopping the fence illegally. Whoops. That's me being a rebel.
Yes, hopping fences in Dublin or Ireland.
Yeah. I like standing on the edges of cliffs. That's weird, but I'm into that.
As long as you don't jump.
No.
Yeah.
So I've had that experience standing on the cliffs of Moher, you know, at Machu Picchu, the Globe stage in London, and then when I was in Banff, Canada. Cool. That was also really amazing and beautiful. But once you walk in, you're surrounded by these massive, it's so remote, and these massive, gorgeous, it looks fake. It literally looks fake. You're like, this can't be real. And you're looking across the entrance, and there's this massive mountain that's right in front of you, covered in green. And if you look very closely, there's stairs, meaning there's stairs up to the top of this mountain. And you're like, how did somebody or anybody do that? Okay. And all of like the ruins are just... It's just gorgeous to see how precise, like, the steps are and how precise, you know, all the cutting of the stone is. It's just fascinating and massive and beautiful. And honestly, it was the best workout I've ever had, going up and down these stairs. We went up the wrong way and had to go back down and up again. We took a break at, like, the first plateau and just kind of, you know, soaked everything in, and just, like, took 1,000 million pictures. Well, and good. Just really enjoyed it. It just was, and we looked out with the best day possible. That's good. It was clear, it was beautiful, no rain. It just was an amazing, awesome experience that I absolutely will never forget. Well, you're very passionate about it. Oh, God, yeah, for sure.
And you said you wanted to go back, which is interesting. I have no desire to go to Machu Picchu. None. Really? Like, it does nothing for me. Why? It does not.
You like to hike, too.
I like to hike, but it's nothing for me. Oh, like, I have no desire. It's not even on my list. Is that interesting?
God, that's
fascinating, right? Now, if I was in Lima on a layover or something, maybe I would do that, but I don't even think you can do that on a layover.
No, you can't do that on a layover, but you can definitely enjoy Lima.
I think was it crowded?
No, it wasn't that bad.
Okay.
We had gone at the perfect time because it was the end of the rainy season and right before tourist season started. Okay. So how are you sweating?
I'm sweating. It's so hot in here. I can't. I'm about to take my shirt off and put these on. Take your top off. Lord help me. Take your top off. But yeah, no, I've always thought it would be so crowded, and I don't like
crowds.
Yeah, like I love seeing pictures, and then I'm like, there's no one in this picture, and then you go to the place, and there's 10,000 people there, and you're like, I hate it here.
There wasn't, though. There wasn't. I mean, it got busier because there were tours and stuff like that, but honestly, there were moments where we felt alone up there, which was really beautiful, and that was, I think, important to, like, have that experience. And I think that's why they limit how many people can get in per day.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, also I think it's sinking, too, because that's what we've been hearing for years and years, that it's sinking and it might close and da-da-da. Oh. So that's one of the reasons why we wanted to go as soon as possible.
I don't know when it's going to sink, but hopefully it's not in like the next 100 years or like 5 years.
I don't know.
So, but yeah, I've never had a desire. Is that weird? I've never had a desire.
Especially for somebody who hikes so much.
I do love to go hiking.
I know you do.
Yeah, no, I've never had a desire. But I'm finally glad that you shared this story with me because I've been wanting to hear about it.
It was so amazing. If you can go to Peru, go to Peru. Go on Peru Rail if you can, or the other one. But it just was a really magical, beautiful experience. It is extremely remote, but I like fast, trips like that. We went on a Monday, came back on a Friday.
And you went somewhere. Yay! I'm so excited. This is your year.
There's a lot happening this year.
This is your year to travel. I'm very excited. I love to travel. It's my favorite thing.
Now, next I'm going to a family wedding.
Oh, well, that sounds fun. That does not sound fun. I lied to you. But no, I went on a cruise.
Yes, I know. I've been dying to hear about this too because we haven't spoken about it.
And I went on a cruise. See, I don't ever buy souvenirs.
Okay.
I don't even usually buy souvenirs for myself.
Okay.
But I bought this hat because I've always see my hat. I've always wanted to go to Sitka, Alaska. Oh, it's Sitka, Alaska. It's really
bend
not
your head down so they can see.
Jeez almighty, she's so bossy today. So, so I've always wanted to go to Sitka, Alaska. And so when I was booking my cruise, I booked the whole thing. And I specifically picked Holland America because they go to Sitka. And they're like one of the only cruise ships that goes to Sitka. And I wanted to go to Sitka because it was the capital of Alaska when Russia owned it. Yes. When it was Russian Alaska.
Yes.
Sitka was the capital, so I wanted to go there for that history because I feel like they own America now, so I might as well know a little bit. I mean, they own us, so I might as well know a little bit about them. I
thought we were not talking about politics.
Well, I'm just saying they own us.
Well, whatever.
Praise Putin. But so I picked Holland America. What I did, and I loved the ship because it was white and blue. It was masculine looking. Yeah. What I didn't realize was they target the elderly. And I don't just mean the elderly. I mean the elderly who are disabled.
So it's a geriatric cruise?
It is like a death ship. Like, have you ever seen the movie Ghost Ship?
Oh my
This
God.
was Death Ship.
It was the final journey.
Let me tell you something. A lot of people say to me, like, oh, no, Alaskan cruises, old people. No, these people were dying off on the way, like it was terrible.
God.
They were like they had class. So every day on a cruise. Have you been on a cruise?
No, I've never been on a cruise.
So every morning
I've done like a day cruise, like in New York to go watch the fireworks.
Yeah, no, this was a week. So every day you get a calendar of events, and some of the events would be
Pinochle.
No, so you don't want to fall in the shower.
No, that was like a class.
Yes, don't want to fall in the shower. Come down to the fitness center and we'll show you. Don't like salt? Don't worry. They put no salt in their food. It was the blandest food. We would have to put pounds of salt and pepper and sauce, rub it on the ground just to get taste into it. No. It was rough. The Grim Reaper was the activities director. Like, it was that bad. Like, I would be, at one point, we were in because, so it's like communal food, and they have a buffet restaurant. That's their biggest restaurant. Okay. It's a buffet. It was called the Lido Market. Ooh. And no. Okay. And just imagine thousands of people my eyes are closed because imagine thousands of people not knowing where to go, walking in circles, bland food, no seats anywhere. At one point I was like, I just said out loud, I'm going to start kicking people out of the way.
Oh my God.
Then I got into a fight with someone.
Like an old person?
I got into an argument. Like, it was verbal. So it's so chaotic, and there's people everywhere. There's people in line. There's people walking around. There's people dying. I don't know.
Also, but you were on, was there Wi-Fi? Like, were you able to, like...
No. Well, the Wi-Fi is like $1,000 a day. Oh. So no. And
also you made a pact.
I did. I went on this cruise saying I'm not going to worry about being on social media. I'm going to focus on my husband, and we're just going to have a good vacation.
Yeah, you needed to unplug.
So I get up and I don't see anyone in front of the pasta bar. Now, let me tell you something. The fettuccine Alfredo should just be called white sauce because it was disgusting. So I just walk up, and the guy on the other side of the counter, he's doing something, and then he looks up at me, and I said, "Oh, can I have bow ties?" I said farfalle because I'm Italian, and and some bolognese. Or no, I didn't order bolognese. I'm a vegetarian. Whatever. That's not important. Yeah. And this old man goes, "I was next." So I look at him and I said, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry, sir. I didn't even see you standing there. It's so chaotic." And he goes, then I forgot where I was. And I said, "Well, you don't have to be so fucking nasty. We're all on this cruise ship together." And he was like, "I wasn't being nasty." And I was like, and then I stormed off. So when I told Matt, he was like, "Well, he'll probably be dead before he finds you again," because they were all old. Oh my God, it took so if you had to go 3 decks, we took the stairs everywhere because you would spend 15 minutes waiting for all the motorized wheelchairs to come off the elevator. I have no time. And I thought, if this thing starts sinking, I'm not even gonna have to worry about getting into a raft, because by the time it goes down, 1,500 people are gonna be strapped to their wheelchairs. So I'm good. I'll probably have my own raft.
This sounds like a
amazing
retirement home. Like, when I think of cruises, I get the image in my head of conga lines and
Yes, well, that's what I had envisioned too.
Definitely not this.
We were coming into Victoria, Canada, and there's the ship Norwegian Bliss, which is their newest ship, was leaving, and I had binoculars and I was looking.
Oh no! Did you have ship envy?
I was on because we had a veranda. Because when you go to Alaska, you have. Oh, that's where. Did I even say we went to Alaska?
Yes, you went to Alaska.
Alaskan cruise. You have to have a veranda so you could see the Glacier Bay is gorgeous and it's amazing. And I was looking at this. They had a water park slide. They had, and I kept opening the door and I kept going to Matt. "Oh my God, they have a water park. Oh my God, they have a huge screen TV. Oh man," he's like, "Why don't you just jump in and swim over there?" I was like, "Don't tempt me, because it's only 3 miles away."
It's not that bad.
No, it was terrible. But no, their ship looked amazing. And now I just feel like, oh God, I wanted to go to Sitka, and that's why we booked on Holland America. And I'm not saying they weren't bad.
But not the fun bus.
It wasn't the fun bus. It wasn't. I spent a lot of time in my room watching movies.
Oh.
And you're the second person that I've told that to, and that is the response. Oh.
I'd be livid if I spent money on a cruise, and if
I watched a lot of movies.
Is watching movies, I'd be.
Well, and one day I was sick at sea the whole day. Sunday we were at sea, and I get very nauseous. And I had to lay down all day.
See, that's what freaks me out about cruises, because I used to go fishing out in Montauk all the time. And I never really got seasick except for once, which was really, it was really bad.
Right.
So I can't imagine feeling like that stuck on a boat in the ocean for a long period of time.
Oh yeah, we had one day at sea and it was pretty brutal.
That's rough.
One of the funniest things though, so the last time we went on a cruise, what they used to make you do, so before you leave, everyone has to go to their muster station, which is underneath their life raft. So you go under the life raft. And back in the day, you would actually have to go there. They have the bells and they're like ding, 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 ding. And then everyone leaves the rooms and goes down there and they do a call. They have to scan your card. Then they tell you this is where you meet if this boat is sinking. If the ship is sinking, this is where you come. Well, in the other 2 cruises I went, we had to put our life jackets on and go in our life jackets. But they apparently stopped that. So Matt and I put our life jackets on.
I saw that picture.
Yeah,
you guys looked so cute.
Yeah, and then we walk out and the Filipino housekeeper goes, no. And I was like, you motherfucker. So then we ripped them off and we had to go down there. It was hilarious. Did you count that?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
I'm on it.
But no, it was a fun trip. We went to Seattle for a few days before that. Then we went on the cruise.
Love Seattle, by the way.
Yeah, it was a good trip. I just wish that I wouldn't have felt so old.
Yeah.
Yeah. I started taking Metamucil just because they had it for free.
It was
water, Metamucil, and cyanide tablets. So if you really if you're done.
If you're done.
But
if you're tapped out, now's the time.
But we did have happy hour every night.
Good.
And it was fun. Matt would get very frustrated with all the people.
I can imagine.
So and there were a lot of people. Yeah. We had gone to a nice restaurant where we paid more. We walked out of the restaurant one night in the dining room because they kind of forgot about us.
Not good.
And
you just had it.
So Matt was like, "I'm done," and I was like, "Yeah, I'm done too." So we get up, we walk out. He complains. They call the room and they're like, "We booked you reservations tomorrow night with a free bottle of wine." And being in customer service, I understand that because on the airplane, if you're having a bad moment, I will say I am so sorry. Can I buy you a drink?
Of course. What can I do to make it better?
Can I get you something? I hate when somebody's like, "Oh, your TV doesn't work. I'm sorry." Walk away.
Bye.
I don't like that. I feel like, oh, I'm so sorry. Can I do something for you?
Yes.
And I felt like they did that. They were like, we screwed up. We're sorry. Let's make it up to you.
Let's make it better.
And wine, I'm always going to say yes.
You're going to say yes to wine.
So,
but okay, so I want to know how visually, like I want to go because I want to see
everyone
glaciers.
Everyone should go. So the first day on our cruise, it was Juneau. We were there for like 9 hours. Then we did an excursion. Oh, and then we did an excursion in Ketchikan. Let me tell you because I know you love Jesus. So we get on the bus, and there's a young girl and a guy sitting there, and the girl's wearing a baseball cap that says Jesus, and I'm like, oh Jesus, watch us get set up with them. So, this is a learning experience because immediately I'm always like, oh, they're gonna start preaching to me on the.
They're gonna baptize you in a bathtub.
Well, Lord knows the water would burn.
Yeah.
So
no.
And this was a Jeep canoe excursion. So it was 4 people in a Jeep.
Cool.
We drove the Jeep ourselves. I did not expect that. I thought somebody would be driving the Jeep and then we'd just be in the Jeep. No, so we get there and it's Matt and I, and they're like, all right, we need another twosome. And then we met up and then we teamed up with Jesus Girl and her husband, who was very cute, who loved Disney. So I don't know, but they live down the street from here. So we probably passed them. So adorable. They were so cute and sweet. And we took a selfie together. And then I thought, oh, she's not one of those crazy Jesus people. She's like LJ. So I like her. Yay. And then so we did 4-wheeling and we saw the views and then we got in a canoe.
That sounds awesome.
So then we drive back down. We get in this 20-man canoe.
That's my style of like doing something.
20-man canoe. And we canoe across the lake and across the lake they have like a cookout and they're serving the best tasting clam chowder I've ever had. Fun. They have smoked salmon. They have like snacks. Then you do a nature tour. So, but
that's cool.
Do you know that I'm deathly afraid of alligators? Like, that is my fear in life. I expect them to be in the parking lot. Like, I'm irrational when it comes to gators. And a couple weeks ago, somebody got eaten by one. Did you hear about that? Like, maybe like a month or so ago, a woman was walking her dogs, and then she disappeared, and then her dogs were still there, and then they found parts of her body in the gator. So I don't know if she, tried to protect her dogs, but I'm sorry. If I'm walking along with a baby and a gator comes up, the baby's going in the water. Because I can run. The baby doesn't even know what's happening. So, I shouldn't even joke about that. Can we cut that out?
Maybe.
Probably not.
Probably not.
Sorry, anyone who's offended by that. But seriously, I'm afraid of gators so much. Okay. So we sit in the canoe, and Matt's on this side, and I'm in the middle, because it's big. It's a big way. And this gentleman from Georgia sits down, and he goes... Wait,
you're not with your Jesus couple anymore?
They were up front, and I took a picture of them.
Oh, okay.
So cute. I love them.
Adorable.
I love them. So, he was like, I love Disney. And she's like, oh, and I'm like, So, I'm thinking gay. So, I'm sorry. So, the Georgia guy sits down next to me and he looks over and he goes, I hope no gators jump in this canoe.
Oh, no.
And I said, you'd realize you are saying that to the wrong person. And then Matt's like, there's no gators here. We're in Alaska. And I'm like, they're here. They're here.
They'll find
They're
a
here.
way.
But it was fun. It was a good trip. It was a bucket list. I'd always wanted to go. And this is going to sound...
That's cool. We both did 2 bucket list trips.
Yeah. And this is going to sound probably terrible, but in my mind, I've always thought people who went on Alaskan cruises...
Were old?
No. We're like... Oh, ooh, you went on an Alaskan cruise? You're established.
Oh.
I've always thought it's I don't know why.
Where that came from?
I don't know, because then when I went, I was like, oh, this is like being at a Walmart with old people and they're all dying. So I don't know. I mean... We're gonna take a break from cruises, because unless we can go on a cruise where there's only 100 people, I don't think it.
Nice.
Matt's not into all those people.
Do you have another trip that you're gonna do this year?
No, I don't have anything planned.
Okay.
Do I? I probably do, and I don't even know.
Yeah, that's how I am.
But probably, but I don't even know what it is yet. I think we're doing something for 4th of July.
Okay.
Maybe.
Okay.
And we'll see. Or maybe in September, I don't know.
Gotcha.
So, yeah. But that's great. I'm glad we both got to do something and talk about it because I've been wanting to hear about this. And I have been dying to tell you about my Grim Reaper joke. So, oh my God, I've been sitting on that like it's about to hatch.
It's gonna hatch.
So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for sitting with us and listening to us talk about our vacations. Hopefully you guys are going on something fun this summer.
Do something fun. Get out there.
Get out there, fly, bring your flight attendants chocolates and treats, and we will treat you well too.
Yeah, and fly safe, birdies, as always.
Have a great day. Thanks for checking in on Confessions on the Fly with
LJ
and Flight Attendant Joe.
Bye.